So what advice would you give to organizations in terms of, helping them monitor and curb the different disruptions that email-borne attacks can bring, and how can Mimecast help them address these challenges?
I think historically, email security has been provided by Secure Email Gateway, which is a classic perimeter strategy to keep bad emails from making their way to corporate mailboxes. I think changes in the threat landscape require the strategy, that it must extend beyond this traditional perimeter-orientated defense to an email security or strategy that is more pervasive, like a multi-zoned and integrated with the company's overall security systems is really important. Such a strategy must extend to security for and add protection to services like Microsoft Office 365. So, if we look at a strategy that helps organizations address threats at 3 distinct time zones, the email perimeter, which is your more classical Secure Email Gateway, as we know it. Then they have to look at inside the organization and the network, and then also beyond the perimeter. So at the perimeter, we stop the sophisticated attacks from getting into your environment. Most organizations have deployed some sort of Secure Email Gateway to prevent these attacks. But then inside your organization and network, you don't want to let internal email threats or human error disrupt your business. This could be due to a compromised user, or it could be unintended. But at the same time, this talks to the user awareness capabilities and services. And then beyond your enterprise, your brand is everything, and you don't want to let attacks abuse your brand. So you've got to think beyond your perimeter, which is another big shift as we've seen in the threat landscape and where the attackers are focusing. So organizations try to rely on security and data protection of the cloud email providers alone has proved suboptimal against advanced phishing attacks. And even the most basic anti-spam management doesn't happen with the built-in insecurity. So I think with Mimecast in the age of COVID, I think the major increase in COVID-related cyber attacks means that email security, web security, your brand exploit, protect, and demark solutions have all become incredibly important when it comes to protecting organizations and their customers from these threats. I think our web security keeps the web safe and consistently secures employees, even if they're off the company network. And then our comprehensive backup and archiving solutions are ready to restore access to critical business data should there be any unplanned downtime. The recent rise in Emotet ransomware puts organizations at increased risk, and they'll need to ensure they have continuity until the crisis passes.
Okay. So as you have mentioned earlier on, given that everyone within the organization plays a big role in terms of ensuring that ensuring the security within the organization. Given that many businesses today are still implementing remote working models or hybrid working models, so how can IT and business leaders ensure that security awareness is being observed, or there is security awareness within their workforce?
Well, it's a very interesting topic, because I think majority of awareness training programs fails in most organizations, and that are for various reasons. I think today, with a distributed workforce and an abundance of scams doing the rounds, the cost of human error escalates. So organizations need to take steps adequately to prepare employees to spot these threats, first of all. So as awareness training is becoming more increasingly important, our research has shown that the most effective training needs to be short, fun, and engaging to help change security culture. Right? Security is not just the security team's responsibility, it's every employee's responsibility at the same time. So organizations will need to look at training that is frequent, engaging, and updated to evolve with cyber criminals' latest techniques. I think it's critical to fully engage employees in security for them to become an active part of your defense. Right? The need for a strategy that combines email security and awareness training for effective account takeover protection, and then educate users to prevent compromised accounts in the first place. I think training is a critical component of that pervasive email strategy. And one thing that we found is using a bit of humor gets employees to engage. So they actually pay attention. So they do watch the videos, and because they're the modules, and because they're short and punchy, and the humor factors in there, they do pay attention. So that we found worked exceptionally well. Some of our state of email security report statistics just across the UAE showed that 30% of organizations do not provide awareness training on a frequent basis. And then in Saudi Arabia, we also saw that 34% don't provide any training on a frequent basis. So that could, I mean, that is a very easy way to stop a big gap inside an organization. So it's definitely something to consider. We recently launched also something called Safe Fish, which lets you turn real life de-weaponized phishing attacks that target organizations into training exercises. So basically we take a real phishing attack, we make it safe, and then we deliver that to the users, because there's nothing better than a real life example. And then we gauge what are the users' click rates. Do they still fall victim to these type of simulated attacks? But that avoids organizations from going to try and build their own templates from scratch. And then some other recommendations for secure remote working is update your home Wi-Fi with strong passwords. Never click on COVID-19 related attachments that you receive outside outside your trusted perimeter. Double check links, of course. If suspicious, do not click. Ensure the links go to the correct domain for employees to double check that. Update your username and passwords on trusted sites only. Obviously, you update that frequently. And do not use your personal devices at home to access organizations' network data or emails.
Yeah, great. It's great that you mentioned, obviously, you're right in saying that these kinds of security awareness training modules need to be more engaging, especially now that, some people are working from home. They tend to get distracted more often than they usually are. So it's that's important, keeping them engaged and keeping it interesting for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So as for my final question, what can regional customers, expect from Mimecast in the coming months?
Well, I think we will continue to build out our API platform with more integrations with leading brands. So it's really important that if you invest in a service today, that it could talk to your broader ecosystem and it's not isolated. We recently also acquired a company called Message Control. It's a messaging security provider with solutions designed to help stop social engineering and human identity attacks with the use of machine learning and artificial intelligence. So this powerful combination of Mimecast and Message Control is engineered to provide customers using productivity apps such as Office 365 or Google, which will even give them stronger protection against advanced phishing and impersonation attacks. I think it's also designed to prevent inadvertent loss of sensitive and confidential data, while also serving as an additional sensor to further enrich our threat intelligence. Okay. So I think, for us as an organization, we want to continue to keep our customers safe. And as the threat landscape evolves, so does our services and platform evolve to ensure we protect our customers.